Hello and welcome back to the Smash Archive, the series where we look at every game franchise represented in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. In a previous video, we looked at all the content in Smash to come from Saigo, so for the next third-party video, let's look at everything in Smash to come from Capcom. For this video, we'll be using a similar format to the Saigo video, where we'll have in-depth looks at the two main series to come from Capcom, and end with brief overviews of the four smaller series. Specifically, we'll be looking at Mega Man, which takes content from the first 9 entries in the classic series, as well as the X, Zero, ZX, Legends, Battle Network, and Star Force series. Street Fighter, which pulls from the first 4 numbered entries, as well as the Alpha series. And then we'll end with quick looks at Ghosts and Goblins, Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, and Monster Hunter. With that out of the way, let's get started with the Blue Bomber, Mega Man. During the mid-1980s, Capcom, who at the time had only primarily worked on arcade games, with most of their home releases just being ports of said arcade games, decided they wanted to make a game specifically for Japanese home consoles, with this game being made by a team of just 6 people consisting of fresh young talent. Most famous of these 6 being Keiji Inafune, who worked as an artist designing a lot of the game's regular enemies and some of the bosses. He's also often credited for creating the main protagonist, though he actually only made 2D illustrations based on the pixel art, which was already done by Akira Kinemura, who was also the game's director. The game and character would end up being called Rockman, though outside Japan they were both renamed to Mega Man, this being down to Capcom USA's senior vice president, Joseph Morici, thinking the name Rockman was just a bad name. The game itself follows Mega Man having to defeat Dr. Wily, who has reprogrammed 6 robot masters, humanoid robots created by Mega Man's creator Dr. Light to help humanity, to take over the world. Despite having underwhelming sales, the game did incredibly well review-wise, with a lot of this being thanks to Mega Man's unique approach to level progression, where instead of going through a linear set of levels, you can fight the robot masters in any order you want, with each one giving Mega Man a special weapon, which are often more versatile compared to Mega Man's default weapon, the Mega Buster, at the cost of having limited ammo. Because of that, we have a good amount of content from the original Mega Man. To start off, we have fighter number 46, Mega Man. Originally starting off as a helper robot named Rock, after seeing Wily's attack, he insisted to be turned into a combat robot dubbed Mega Man by his creator Dr. Light. In addition to fighting with the Mega Buster, his default weapon, which in the games is the only one with infinite ammo, he also uses several of the special weapons he gains throughout the series. Then we have 6 music tracks. A Smashful remix of Cutman Stage, of Gutsman Stage, new remix of Iceman Stage, remix of Bomb Man Stage, mechanics of Fireman Stage, and a retro medley, in order containing the stage start jingle, a Lekman stage, Bombman stage, Cutman stage, Gutsman stage, Fireman stage, and Iceman stage. Finally, there's 12 spirits. Number 864, Mega Man, a fighter spirit. The art is from Mega Man 10, which was most likely due to it being the most recent game in the classic series at the time of Ultimate's development, as Mega Man 11 wouldn't release until just over 2 months before Ultimate. Number 867, Dr. Light, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect Zap Floor Immunity. The scientist who created the Robot Masters and Mega Man. The spirit art comes from Mega Man 9, where he gets arrested when Dr. Wily frames him for causing 9 set of Robot Masters to attack humanity. Number 868, Roll, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect Auto Heal. Mega Man's sister, who also works as a helper robot for Dr. Light. The artwork coming from Mega Man 9, where she appears in the intro and ending cutscenes as well as in the shop. Number 873, Dr. Wily, a 2-slot legend support spirit with the effect Jam FS Charge. The main antagonist of the classic series, who tries to take over the world after feeling his career was spent living in the shadow of his colleague Dr. Light. The art is from Mega Man 10, where he creates a robot disease called Robo-Enza and states he will only give the cure to those who serve him. Number 875, Metal, a 1-slot novice primary shield spirit with the effect Jump Down. Industrial robots that first appear on Gutsman's stage, with them only being vulnerable to attacks when they stop hiding under their helmets to shoot at Mega Man, with them having gone on to be a serious recurring enemy, appearing in every incarnation of Mega Man except the Legends series. The art is from the Rockman Complete Works release, these being a series of Japan-exclusive re-releases of the NES Mega Man games for the PlayStation 1. Number 876, Cutman, a 2-slot advanced primary grab spirit. A robot built for cutting timber using the scissor-like blades on his head. His weakness is Gutsman's super arm, and defeating him gets the rolling cutter, which lets Mega Man throw scissor boomerangs. The art comes from the Complete Works release. Number 877, Gutsman, a 1-slot advanced primary grab spirit. A construction robot built with great strength for moving heavy objects. He's weak to Bomb Man's hyper bomb and gives Mega Man the super arm, allowing him to pick up and throw large rocks. This weapon also appearing in Smash as Mega Man's grab and throw. The spirit art is taken from the Complete Works version. Number 878, Iceman, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Lava Floor Resist. A robot built to complete tasks under extreme conditions. He's weak to Elecman's Thunder Beam and gives Mega Man the Ice Slasher, which doesn't damage enemies but freezes them in place for a few seconds. The art once again coming from Complete Works. Number 879, Bomb Man, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a Bob-omb. A demolition robot that was built to work in tandem with Gutsman. His weakness is Fireman's Firestorm, and defeating him gets you the Hyper Bomb, which lets Mega Man throw a bomb in an arc. The spirit art comes from Complete Works. Number 880, Fireman, a 2-slot advanced primary attack spirit with the effect Water Weakness. A robot master built to work in the incinerator of a waste management facility. He's weak to Iceman's Ice Slasher, and his defeat gives Mega Man the Firestorm, which creates a shield around Mega Man and shoots a large flame projectile. His spirit art comes from the Complete Works release. Number 881, Elecman, a 2-slot advanced primary grab spirit with the effect Electric Attack Up. A robot made to manage the voltage of nuclear power plants. He's weak to Cutman's Rolling Cutter, with him giving Mega Man the Thunder Beam, which shoots 3 electric energy beams that can go through multiple enemies and hit multiple times. Like the other robot masters, his art is from the Complete Works release. And number 882, Yellow Devil, a 1-slot ace primary neutral spirit with the effect Speed Down. A large robot built by Wily who acts as the boss of Wily Stage 1, with him being able to shoot projectiles from his eye and split apart his body into blobs. The only way to beat him is to shoot his eye, with his weakness being Elecman's Thunder Beam. Whilst the original Mega Man did well, it didn't do well enough to warrant an immediate sequel. However, after Akira Midokura asked for permission from Capcom's vice president, it was allowed, but it had to be made in the developer's spare time whilst they worked on other projects Capcom had more faith in. Over time, the game would see various improvements from the original game, most notably the amount of robot masters being increased from 6 to 8, and the addition of utility items to assist the player after complaints that the first game was too hard, with the story seeing Dr. Wily create his own set of robot masters with the specific goal of taking down Mega Man. Despite the lackluster sales of the first game, Mega Man 2 did outstandingly well, selling over 1.5 million units and, for the longest time, was the best-selling Mega Man game, until 34 years later when it was eventually dethroned by Mega Man 11. Because of that, Mega Man 2 is easily the most popular entry in the series, meaning we have a good amount to go over. First is the stage Wily Castle, Wily's base which acts as the game's final level after taking down the 8 robot masters. There's been various Wily castles since the original Mega Man, however the castle in the background is specifically based on the castle in Mega Man 2, with the main platform the fight takes place on featuring a Dr. W logo that appears above the doors to the robot masters starting with Mega Man 2. Various platforms can appear during the fight, namely rails which feature platforms that drop when traveling across gaps in the rail, bearing resemblance to similar moving platforms that appear in Gutsman's stage in Mega Man 1, pendulum-like platforms resembling the ones from Brightman's stage in Mega Man 4, conveyor belt platforms which seem to be taken from the Taco Trash boss room in Mega Man 4, and floating platforms that could be from Tomahawk Man's stage in Mega Man 6. Finally, the stage will periodically be visited by the Yellow Devil, a boss that has seen multiple incarnations throughout the series, though this is specifically based on the original Yellow Devil from Mega Man 1. He uses the same attack pattern as his Mega Man 1 fight by traveling across the stage in multiple blobs, shooting projectiles from its eye, and then repeating. If attacked in the eye enough, the Yellow Devil will be KO'd and begin exploding, with any fighter other than the one who defeated it taking continual damage if they're caught in the explosion. Next is 8 music tracks, with a Smash 4 medley consisting of the stage start jingle, the title screen music, Wily Castle Stage 1 and 2. A new remix of Metal Man's stage, with the track also having the title screen music and potentially the track Cannonball from Mega Man 03. A Smash 4 remix of Airman's stage, Smash 4 remix of Quickman's stage, which also contains the theme for Heatman's stage and the level clear jingle. A new remix of Crashman's stage, a new remix of Flashman's stage, remix of Woodman Stage. And a retro medley with the tracks Airman Stage, Woodman Stage, Quickman Stage, Flashman Stage, Crashman Stage, Metal Man Stage, and Wily Castle Stage 1 and 2. In addition, there's 6 spirits, with all the spirit art coming from the Rockman Complete Works release. Number 883, Metal Man, a 2-slot advanced primary grab spirit, the first robot master built by Dr. Wily, his design being based on Cutman. He's weak to both Quickman's Quick Boomerang and in the rematch against him, his own weapon, the Metal Blade, which allows Mega Man to shoot circular saw blades in 8 directions, the weapon appearing in Smash as Mega Man's neutral special. Number 884, Airman, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Fog Immunity, a robot master capable of creating strong winds from its arm cannons and the fan in its torso. His weakness is Woodman's Leaf Shield, and defeating him earns Mega Man the Air Shooter, which creates multiple small tornadoes that travel forward briefly then rise upwards, with the ability also being Mega Man's up aerial. Number 885, Quickman, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Move Speed Up, a robot made of light materials allowing him to move at high speeds. He's weak to both Flashman's Time Stopper and Crashman's Crash Bomber, with him rewarding Mega Man the Quick Boomerang, a short-range, high-speed boomerang attack. Number 886, Crashman, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a bomber, a robot taking inspiration from both Bomb Man and Guts Man, incorporating both explosions and high defenses. His weakness is Airman's Air Shooter, with him giving Mega Man the Crash Bomber, a sticky bomb projectile that also appears as Mega Man's side special. Number 887, Flashman, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Screen Flip Immunity, a robot master who possesses the ability to control time. Flashman is weak to both Metal Man's Metal Blade and Crashman's Crash Bomber, with him giving Mega Man the ability to briefly stop time with the Time Stopper. At number 888, Woodman, a 2-slot advanced primary shield spirit with the effect Fire Weakness, a robot built using Japanese cypresses, providing great strength and defense at the cost of speed and weakness to fire. Thanks to that, he's weak to Heat Man's Atomic Fire, with his defeat giving Mega Man the Leaf Shield, 4 leaf-shaped units that can be used as both a shield and shot as a projectile, with the weapon appearing in Smash as Mega Man's down special. Mega Man 3 takes place a few months after the events of Mega Man 2, with Dr. Wily, now claiming to be reformed, starting to work with Dr. Light to create a new series of robot masters, along with a giant peacekeeping robot named Gamma, which is powered by 8 energy elements gathered from various uncharted planets. After the Robot Masters then go crazy and steal the energy elements, Mega Man sets out with his new robot dog companion Rush to get them back, along the way encountering the mysterious Breakman, and after they get the energy elements back, having them get stolen by Dr. Wily, who plans to take over the world with Gamma. In addition to introducing Rush, Mega Man 3 introduced a new maneuver with the Slide, allowing Mega Man to dodge projectiles, traps, and travel through narrow areas. The Slide then being a mainstay in the series to where it appears in Smash as Mega Man's down tilt. Thanks to its inclusions being series mainstays, we have a good amount of content from Mega Man 3. To begin, we have 6 music tracks, with a new remix of Hard Man Stage, a new remix of Top Man Stage, a new remix of Snake Man Stage, Smash 4 remix of Sparkman Stage, a Smash 4 remix of Shadow Man Stage, and a retro medley containing Top Man Stage, Shadow Man Stage, Sparkman Stage, Snake Man Stage, and Hard Man Stage. Then we have a Mii-Gunner costume based on Proto Man, named Blues in Japan. This is the true identity of Breakman, with him being fought in Magnet Man, Hard Man, and Shadow Man stages. Following that is 7 spirits. Number 865, Proto Man, a 3-slot legend primary shield spirit. At the end of the game, he saves Mega Man from Wily's collapsing fortress, and is revealed to have effectively been the prototype of Mega Man, making him Mega Man's brother. The art is taken from Mega Man 10, where Proto Man is a playable character. The main differences between him and Mega Man being Proto Man can use the slide and charge shot, but takes twice as much damage and knockback. Number 869, Rush, a 1-slot ace support spirit with the effect Up Special Up. A robot dog who effectively replaces the utility items from Mega Man 2, being able to be used as a trampoline, hoverboard, and submarine, with the trampoline form, dubbed the Rush Coil, being Mega Man's Up Special. Number 889, Hard Man, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Weapon Attack Up. A robot master made of Ceratanium, granting it incredible defense at the cost of movement and weighing 3 tons. He's weak to Magnet Man's Magnet Missile, with his defeat netting the Hard Knuckle, a strong fist projectile that appears as Mega Man's down aerial. The spirit art comes from the Complete Works release. Number 890, Top Man, a 2-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a screw attack. A robot built to search other planets for energy elements to build the giant robot Gamma. Top Man is weak to Hard Man's Hard Knuckle and earns Mega Man the Top Spin, allowing him to attack enemies by spinning around, with the ability appearing as Mega Man's dash attack. The artwork comes from the Complete Works version. Number 891, Snake Man, a 1-slot novice primary grab spirit. A robot built to investigate narrow areas and survey the topography of uninhabited planets. He's weak to Needle Man's Needle Cannon, with him giving Mega Man the Search Snake, which releases snake missiles that crawl across the floor and walls. The art is from the Complete Works release. Number 892, Spark Man, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Energy Shot Attack / Resistance Up. A robot built to recharge electrical equipment using a pair of high voltage electrodes. His weakness is Shadow Man's Shadow Blade, with him giving Mega Man the Spark Shock, which can paralyze enemies by short-circuiting their electrical components, with the weapon also being Mega Man's Up Smash. The spirit artwork is from the Complete Works version. And number 893, Shadow Man, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a killing edge. A robot believed to have been created by extraterrestrial life who was reactivated by Dr. Wily. His weakness is Top Man's Top Spin, and he drops the weapon Shadow Blade, allowing Mega Man to shoot shurikens in a boomerang pattern. The spirit art comes from the Complete Works release. Set 1 year after the events of the last game, Mega Man 4 sees the Blue Bomber fight off a new threat with Dr. Cossack, who is trying to take over the world with his own set of robot masters. However, towards the end, it's revealed that Cossack was only doing this due to being blackmailed by Wily, who kidnapped Cossack's daughter, Kalinka. In addition to being the first entry to have a villain be revealed to have actually been working for Wily the whole time, this game also introduced both Eddie, a helper robot that drops random pickups, as well as the Charged Shot, where by holding the shoot button with the Mega Buster equipped, Mega Man can shoot a larger, more powerful shot, both of these being mainstays in the series, with the Charged Shot even appearing as Mega Man's forward smash. There's a decent amount of content from Mega Man 4, the decrease in content from the first 3 games likely being due to how at this point Mega Man was starting to get some flack for a lack of innovation from previous titles. First, we have 2 music tracks, with a new medley that has the tracks Dive Man's Stage, Skullman's Stage, and Drill Man's Stage. as well as a retro medley containing tracks from Mega Man's 4, 5, and 6, namely Dive Man Stage, Skullman Stage, Darkman Stage, and Flame Man Stage. Following that is an assist trophy based on the Wily capsule, a vehicle Wily pilots for the final boss fight, with Smash specifically using its appearance and fighting pattern from Mega Man 7, with him being able to shoot mixes of fire, ice, and electric orbs, shoot electricity towards the floor which then splits into 4 orbs, and ram into opponents with a spin attack. Then there's 4 spirits. Number 874, Wily capsule, a 3-slot Ace primary grab spirit. The art is based on Mega Man 7's Wily capsule, which is the same version Wily pilots in Smash as an assist trophy. Number 894, Drill Man, a 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a drill, a robot built for digging on construction sites. He's weak to both Dive Man's dive missiles and charge shots. Upon defeat, he gives the Drill Bomb, a bomb that can pierce through barriers. The art is taken from the Complete Works version. Number 895, Dive Man, a 2-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a steel diver, a robot built with the capabilities of a miniaturized submarine. His weakness is Skullman's skull barrier, with him giving Mega Man the dive missile, a homing missile that locks onto enemies. The spirit art is from the Complete Works release. And number 896, Skullman, a 2-slot advanced primary shield spirit, a robot designed for combat with balanced offense and defense. He's weak to Dustman's Dust Crusher, with his defeat earning the Skull Barrier, a skull-shaped energy shield. The artwork comes from Complete Works. Say a few months after Mega Man 4, a new set of Robot Masters have come on the scene, once again coming with the goal of world domination and now being led by Proto Man, leaving it to Mega Man to stop him now with the help of Dr. Cossack after Proto Man kidnaps Dr. Light. Though, towards the end, it's revealed that the Proto Man leading the Robot Masters is actually a copy created by Dr. Wily, as revenge for the real Proto Man revealing he was behind everything in Mega Man 4. Despite reviewing well, Mega Man 5 seems to be the point at which the popularity of the classic series was starting to decline, due to it basically just being Mega Man 4 again with new levels and bosses. Because of that, there's only a decent amount of stuff from Mega Man 5. To start off, there's 3 music tracks, with a new remix of Gravity Man Stage, of Napalm Man Stage, with the track also having a section which combines the intro and Get Weapon themes. a new remix of Darkman's stage, with the song opening with Darkman's whistle and the Weapon Get theme, with it also containing the intro and title screen music. On top of that, there's 4 spirits. Number 870, Beat, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Air Attack Up, a robot bird that was given as a gift from Dr. Cossack, who can be summoned to attack enemies, with Beat actually being the weakness of the Wily Capsule 2. The art is from Mega Man 9, where he's instead an item that can save Mega Man from falling down bottomless pits. Number 897, Gravity Man, a master spirit who runs the Gravity Style Dojo, which increases jump height and speed whilst decreasing fall speed and both ground and air mobility. A robot that possesses the ability to control gravity thanks to a special unit installed in its body. He's weak to Starman's Star Crash, and upon defeat he gives the Gravity Hold, allowing Mega Man to damage enemies by weighing them down with strong gravity before launching them upwards. The art is from the Complete Works version. Number 898, Napalm Man, a 1-slot novice primary attack spirit. A robot built to defend a secret weapons factory, his weakness is Crystal Man's Crystal Eye, and after being taken down gives Mega Man the Napalm Bomb, which bounces across the ground, blowing up on contact with an enemy. His art is from the Complete Works release. And number 899, Darkman 4, a 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a Rage Blaster. One of the 4 Darkman robots created by Wily to assassinate Mega Man, with Darkman 4 specifically being the robot that impersonated Proto Man. He's the boss of Proto Man Castle Stage 4 and is weak to Stone Man's Power Stone, Starman's Star Crash, and Beat. Now we have the last Mega Man game on the NES with Mega Man 6. This time seeing 8 robots that were built for the first annual Robot Tournament, a worldwide robotics tournament funded by the X Corporation, get reprogrammed by the X Corporation's leader, Mr. X, to take over the world, with Mr. X just very obviously being a disguised Dr. Wily. This entry is often overlooked, most likely thanks to it not only releasing so late in the NES's life cycle that Nintendo had to publish the US release, with the game not even coming out in Europe until the 3DS Virtual Console version, but it also came out the same year as the first entry in the Mega Man X series, which proved to be way more popular. Because of that, there's not much from Mega Man 6. The only thing taken from this entry is 2 spirits, with both taking their artwork from the Complete Works release. Number 900, Nightman, a 2-slot novice primary shield spirit. A robot made primarily for combat, sacrificing maneuverability for strong offense and defense. He's weak to Yamato Man's Yamato Spear, and upon defeat gives the Night Crusher, a spike ball that shoots in a boomerang pattern and can be shot diagonally. And number 901, Windman, a 2-slot novice support spirit with the effect Insta-Drop. A robot made to assist in agriculture and harvesting. His weakness is Centaur Man's Centaur Flash, with him giving Mega Man the Windstorm, which shoots small tornadoes that travel across the floor and can lift enemies into the sky. Moving to the Super Nintendo, we have Mega Man 7. Set half a year after Mega Man 6, with Wily having broken out of prison thanks to the help of a set of robot masters he created just in case he got captured, Mega Man once again stepping up to take down Wily, with him now having run-ins with the mysterious base. Mega Man 7 did alright review-wise, though it did get a lot of flack for not changing anything up from the last 6 games, with a lot of reviews comparing it unfavorably to Maverick.EXE, effectively making this and Mega Man 6 the point where the classic series started to get overshadowed by the X series, which is probably why there's only a small amount of stuff from 7. Similar to the last game, the only thing taken from Mega Man 7 is 3 spirits. Number 866, Base, a 3-slot Ace primary attack spirit, a robot who is revealed to have been Dr. Wily's attempt at building his own version of Mega Man, with Base often butting heads with Wily and sometimes even teaming up with Mega Man, making him more of an anti-hero than a straight-up villain. The art comes from Mega Man 10, where he's a playable character, with him having a rapid-fire buster that can shoot in multiple directions as well as a dash, at the cost of each individual shot doing less damage, and he can't move while shooting. Number 871, Auto, a 2-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a super scope, a robot inventor that sells items to Mega Man in exchange for screws, effectively being the game's shopkeep. And number 902, Slash Man, a 1-slot novice primary attack spirit, a robot created by Wily to clear forests for the construction of new bases. He's weak to both Freeze Man's Freeze Cracker and Turbo Man's Scorch Wheel, and defeating him gives Mega Man the Slash Claw, a short-range slash attack that does good damage, with the move appearing as Mega Man's back aerial. Jumping to the next console generation, we have Mega Man 8 for the PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn, with the jump in generation allowing for a slightly more complex story fit with fully animated and voice-acted cutscenes. The story now seeing Wily use an evil energy from space to try and take over the world once again, Mega Man needing to defeat yet another set of robot masters in order to reach Wily's fortress. Whilst the game did receive praise for an increase in presentation and was overall still reviewed positively and sold well, the series was still getting criticism for lack of innovation, with 8 also getting flack for the hilariously bad English dub. And afterwards, 8 would end up being the last main entry in the classic series for 12 years. Because of that, this is yet another entry that doesn't get much. Continuing the trend from the last 2 games, we only have 2 spirits. Number 872, Duo, a 1-slot advanced primary shield spirit with the effect Fist Attack Up, an extraterrestrial space police robot tasked with destroying the evil energy, with him crash landing on Earth and being found by Mega Man at the start of the game. Interestingly enough, Duo actually first appeared as a playable character in the spin-off fighting game Mega Man 2 The Power Fighters, though his inclusion was solely down to Capcom wanting to advertise Mega Man 8. And number 903, Swordman, a 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a fire bar, a robot built by Wily to use an ancient sword he stole from a museum. He's weak to Aquaman's water balloon, with him giving Mega Man the Flame Sword, a close-range sword strike that can light flammable material, with the attack appearing in Smash as Mega Man's forward aerial. After Mega Man 8 in 1996, the classic series wouldn't see a new mainline installment until 2008 with Mega Man 9, which released as a digital title for the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii, with the game's graphics and gameplay reverting back to the styling of the NES games, namely Mega Man 2, with this entry also being developed by Inti Creates, who outside of Mega Man are mostly known for the Azure Striker Gunvolt and Galgun series. The game seeing Wily responsible for another attack on humanity with a series of robot masters, this time framing Dr. Light for the attack since all the robots were built by him, along with the assistance of a fake video. Mega Man setting out to take down the robot masters and prove Dr. Light innocent. The game did incredibly well sales and reviews wise, with a direct follow-up on the same platforms releasing just 2 years later with Mega Man 10, which was also done by Inti Creates. After 10 though, the series would kind of disappear again before returning in the mid-2010s with the Mega Man Legacy collections, 2 compilation packs of the classic series games, and in 2018 what is currently the last game in the classic series with Mega Man 11, which in 2022 ended up becoming the best-selling Mega Man game of all time. Because Mega Man 9 effectively revived the series after some stagnation during the 2000s, we have a small, if decent amount of content from Mega Man 9. First, there's 2 music tracks, Flash in the Dark, the theme for the first Wily stage, and a new remix of We're Robots, the theme for the second Wily stage. Along with that, there's Spirit number 904, Galaxy Man, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Energy Shot Resist Up. A robot built by Light to work at the Space Research Center to calculate the trajectory of rockets. His weakness is Concrete Man's Concrete Shot, with his defeat giving Mega Man the Black Hole Bomb, allowing him to create small black holes that can absorb and damage enemies, with the weapon appearing in Smash as part of Mega Man's final Smash. Though the black hole, instead of just insta-killing the enemy, leads them to getting shot by a group of the 5 main incarnations of Mega Man, plus Proto Man and Bass. Mega.EXE is a sequel series set 100 years after the events of the classic series, with the games overall having a darker tone when compared to the classic series. The series follows X, the final creation of Dr. Light, who was the first robot to be given full free will. Though to make sure he didn't turn violent, he was sealed away in a capsule that ran diagnostic tests to make sure it was safe. A century later, he's found by Dr. Kane, who then mass produces robots like X dubbed Reploids, with X joining the Maverick Hunters, a group who fight Reploids that start attacking humans and other Reploids, dubbed Mavericks, with the gameplay effectively just being classic Mega Man but with additional maneuvers like dashing and wall jumping. Ignoring spin-offs, the X series consists of 8 games, with X1 through 3 on the Super Nintendo, X4 through 6 on the PlayStation 1, and X7 and 8 for the PlayStation 2, with it easily being the most popular Mega Man series after the classic series. Because of that, there's a good amount of content from the X series. To start off, we have 2 music tracks, with a new remix of the opening stage theme from the original Mega Man X, the theme that plays during the boss fight between X and Zero in Mega Man X5. Next, we have the assist trophy Zero, a robot built by Wily as the successor to Bass, though thanks to the same virus that turns other robots Maverick, Zero became a good guy and joined the Maverick Hunters. In Smash, Zero fights opponents using his Z-Saber, performing some of the techniques he uses in the games where he's playable, namely a basic 3-slash combo, Ryu Engine, a rising flame sword attack, Quenzan, where he performs a series of somersaults, and Genmu Zero, which has him shoot a green beam from his sword. Then we have two Mii costumes, with a Mii Gunner costume based on X, the gun being X's version of Mega Man's Mega Buster, the X Buster, and a costume for sword fighters based on Zero, with the costume using Zero's Z Saber as the sword. To end off, there's 6 spirits. Number 905, X, a 1-slot Ace primary grab spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. The art is taken from Maverick.EXE, a PSP remake of the original Mega Man X. Number 906, Full Armor X, a 1-slot Legend primary grab spirit with the effect Super Armor, this being X after getting all the armor upgrades in the original game. The art coming from Maverick.EXE. Number 907, Zero Buster, a 2-slot advanced primary attack spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. The Zero Buster being Zero's equivalent to the X Buster, specifically being the variant he uses in X1 through 3, as he doesn't use it in X4, and in X5 and 6 he instead used the Z Buster. Number 908, Zero Z Saber, a 2-slot Legend primary attack spirit with the effect weapon attack and move speed up. The Z Saber being the sword Zero starts using in X2, with it effectively taking the role of Zero's main weapon in X4, the artwork coming from X5. Number 909, Axel, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a ray gun. The series' third main protagonist introduced in X7, Axel being an ex-member of the Maverick hunting group Red Alert, which he left after they became too extreme, with Axel having the unique ability to copy the appearance and abilities of any Reploid he sees. And number 910, Sigma, a 3-slot Ace primary attack spirit, the main antagonist of the X series who used to be a Maverick hunter before turning evil thanks to the Maverick virus that Zero was found with, leading him to wage war against humanity multiple times. The art is from Maverick.EXE. Following up the X series is the Mega Man Zero series, consisting of 4 games, all of which released for the Game Boy Advance. The games taking place 100 years after the X series, or 200 years after the classic series, and have Zero as the main protagonist as opposed to an incarnation of Mega Man, this time seeing him work with a resistance group fight Neo Arcadia, who in response to an energy crisis started to wipe out all Reploids, claiming them to have gone Maverick over the slightest of upsets, with the gameplay being made to be more fast-paced and action-heavy, with levels now being split into smaller missions. In addition to this, the Zero series also received its own follow-up with the Mega Man ZX series, these games releasing on the DS and being set 200 years after the Zero series, this time focusing on groups of characters called Mega Men who can transform into armored fighters with the power of biometals. Unfortunately, due to the second game, Mega Man ZX Advent, selling poorly, the third game, ZXC, got cancelled, and due to the series often having 2 games, having similar gameplay to the Zero series, and both series being developed by Inti Creates, the same studio who'd go on to help with Mega Man 9 and 10, they sometimes get conflated together. Because of Mega Man Zero and ZX being the direct follow-ups to the X series, there's a decent amount of content to come from these games. To begin, we have the song used for the intro stage in the original Mega Man Zero, which in itself is a remix of Zero's theme from the X series. In addition, there's 3 spirits. Number 918, Mega Man Zero, a 2-slot Ace primary attack spirit with the effect Sword Attack Up, this being the Zero series interpretation of Zero, with the art specifically coming from Mega Man Zero 2. Number 919, Model X, a 3-slot novice primary grab spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. The biometal that matches with the main protagonist of ZX, which contains the essence of X, allowing the user to use the X Buster and the ability to fuse with other biometals. And number 920, Model ZX, a 3-slot advanced primary grab spirit with the effect transformation duration up, this being the form the protagonists achieve after fusing the Model X and Model Z biometals, or in other terms the essences of X and Zero. Once they gain Model ZX, it effectively replaces Model X as the main mode they use for the rest of the game. Now we have Mega Man's 3D debut with the Mega Man Legends series, and while an exact date is unknown, the games take place thousands of years after the previous games we've talked about up to this point. The games follow Mega Man Volnut, a digger and archaeologist who travels the world with his adoptive father, Professor Barrel Casket, in search of quantum refractors, the power source of the current civilization, which at this point entirely consists of robots that are, for the most part, indistinguishable from humans. Along the way, fighting off the Bonds, a group of pirates who try to steal the treasures found by Mega Man and other diggers, as well as a group of ancient robots found in the ruins called Reaverbots. Despite having a decently strong following, the series only saw 2 main installments for the PlayStation 1 and PC, but the first game also getting a Nintendo 64 port, which was renamed to Mega Man 64 in America. Aside from various spin-offs, there was also going to be a third game for the 3DS, but it was ultimately cancelled despite fan demand. Because of these circumstances, there's only a little bit from the Legends series, the only things taken being 3 spirits. Number 911, Mega Man Volnut, a 3-slot ace primary grab spirit. The Legends series Mega Man, who instead of copying the weapons of his enemies, instead is able to manually swap out various special weapons. Number 912, Roll Casket, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect shooting attack up. Volnut's adopted sister, who both pilots and maintains the family's airship, the Flutter. She mainly serves to provide information over the radio and build new weapons for Volnut. And number 913, Tron Bon, a 3-slot advanced primary grab spirit, the middle child of the Bond family who serves as the group's mechanic, building the 40 serve bots the family use and having a crush on Volnut. Interestingly enough, Tron Bon proved popular enough to get her own spin-off game with the Misadventures of Tron Bon. Taking place in an alternate continuity to the classic series, Mega Man Battle Network is a series of RPGs which follows around dodging enemy attacks by moving around a grid, whilst attacking them using various battle chips. Instead of focusing on humanoid robots, Battle Network is instead in a world where the internet has been integrated into every piece of technology, to the point that in order to process all the data, special programs called Internet Navigators, or Net Navies, were created just to handle it, but the plot focusing around 5th grader Lan Hikari and his personal net navi, Megaman.EXE, working together to take down cyber criminals and viruses. The series spans 6 main entries, all of which were released for the Game Boy Advance, with Battle Network 3 and onwards actually being dual releases. Since this is arguably the most popular handheld Mega Man series which isn't a 2D platformer, there's a decent amount of content from Battle Network. First, we have a Mii Gunner costume based on Megaman.EXE, Battle Network's interpretation of Mega Man, who in addition to his Mega Buster can use hundreds of different battle chips to fight enemies. In addition, there's 2 spirits, number 914, Megaman.EXE, a 3-slot legend primary grab spirit. The art is from Rockman.EXE Operate Shooting Star, a Japan-only enhanced DS port of the original Battle Network with some additional features, most notably a bonus chapter which acted as a crossover with the Mega Man Star Force series. And number 915, Protoman.exe, a 2-slot ace primary shield spirit with the effect Sword Attack Up. Battle Network's interpretation of Protoman, who's the net navi of Eugene Shod, with the 2 acting as Lan and Megaman.exe's rivals. Set 200 years after the events of the Battle Network series, Mega Man Star Force is another series of RPGs with similar gameplay to Battle Network. However, instead of viewing battles from the side and having full movement of a large grid, The camera is instead put behind the character, with you only being able to move left and right, with the game's using battle cards instead of battle chips. The series takes place at a time where everything is transferred through electromagnetic waves, via an EM wave world that's powered by 3 satellites, with the series protagonists working to save the wave world from threats such as the FMians and EM viruses, with the series consisting of 3 games which all had multiple versions. Since this is the last Mega Man series and easily the most isolated series from the rest of the games, we have a decent amount of content from Star Force. To start, there's the track Shooting Star, the main theme of the Star Force series, this specifically being the version from the original Mega Man Star Force. On top of that, there's 2 spirits, number 916, Geostellar and Omega Zis, a 3-slot advanced primary neutral spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. The series' main protagonists, with Geostellar being the son of a missing astronaut, whilst Omega Zis is an alien, specifically an AMian, who works with Geo to defeat the FMians and their EM viruses as revenge for them destroying his planet. And number 917, Star Force Mega Man, a 3-slot ace primary neutral spirit with the effect shooting items up. A form achieved when Geostellar merges with Omega Zis in order to become this series' counterpart to Mega Man, with them taking this form in order to take down EM viruses and similar threats. And that is the Mega Man series done. In the rankings, Mega Man is the 7th most represented series in Smash, putting it above Donkey Kong but below Kirby, and in turn making it the most represented third-party series in Smash. Now let's go to the next round with Street Fighter. Releasing in arcades in 1987, Street Fighter was Capcom's first ever attempt at making a fighting game. The idea came about from Takashi Nishiyama, who wanted to make a game centered around the boss fights from a beat-em-up game he had worked on with the company IREM called Kung Fu Master, with the game also taking inspiration from various popular shonen anime and mangas, as well as the Bruce Lee film Enter the Dragon. The final result was Street Fighter, which actually saw 2 different cabinet releases, one using 2 rubber pads, one for punches and one for kicks, with the strength of the attacks being based on how hard the player pressed the button, as well as a more standard setup where the different attack strengths were split across 3 separate buttons, making for 6 buttons in total. Whilst the punch pad variation didn't do well, only selling 1,000 units, the regular 6-button cabinets managed to sell tens of thousands of units, though an exact number isn't known, with Capcom even handing out the license for various companies to make home console ports of the game. While Street Fighter 1 is often overlooked now thanks to its much more popular sequels, it is still incredibly important to fighting game history, thanks to its 6-button layout now often being a default option for fighting game design, and it's credited as one of the first fighting games to feature special moves hidden with command inputs. Because of that, there's a good amount of content from the original Street Fighter. First, there's 2 fighters. Number 60, Ryu, the main protagonist of the Street Fighter series. Hailing from Japan, Ryu was an orphan raised by the martial artist Goken, who trained Ryu in his private dojo, teaching him a non-lethal version of the Ansatsuken, or Assassination Fist, fighting style. Ryu's design in Smash takes elements from both his Street Fighter 4 and 5 designs. And number 60, Echo, Ken, Ryu's best friend and rival who was sent to train in Goken's dojo to avoid getting spoiled by his wealthy family back in America. Whilst Ken was originally just designed to be a basic palette swap of Ryu to facilitate Street Fighter's multiplayer mode, later games would give him some more unique moves, or at least different spins on moves copied from Ryu. His appearance in Smash is based on his Street Fighter 2 design. Then there's 4 spirits. Number 977, Ryu, a fighter spirit. The spirit art comes from Super Street Fighter 2, where Ryu enters the World Warrior tournament to test his skills against the new combatants. Number 978, Ken, a fighter spirit. The artwork is from Super Street Fighter 2, where Ken enters the tournament after being encouraged to rediscover his fighting spirit via a letter from Ryu, after having initially given up fighting due to falling in love with a woman named Eliza, who he then marries after the tournament. Number 988, Sagat, a 2-slot ace primary shield spirit with the effect Fist Attack Up, a Muay Thai champion originating from Thailand who acts as the game's final boss. The art is from Super Street Fighter 2, where Sagat enters the tournament as an opportunity to fight Ryu again. And number 998, Gen, a 2-slot advanced primary neutral spirit with the effect Fist Attack Up, a Chinese martial arts assassin who acts as one of the representatives for China in the tournament. The art is from Street Fighter Alpha 3, the Alpha series seeing Gen trying to find a worthy opponent in order to go out in a blaze of glory after being diagnosed with leukemia. After the success of the 6-button version of Street Fighter, as well as the beat-em-up game Final Fight, which actually started off life as a Street Fighter sequel, a proper sequel dubbed Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior was greenlit, this time seeing a group of characters enter the World Warrior tournament hosted by the criminal organization Shadowloo. The game was developed over the span of 2 years for the CPS-1 arcade board, the main additions being more playable characters, with the only returning characters from the first game being Ryu and Ken, along with Sagat as a non-playable boss character, and by complete accident, the combat allowed for certain attacks to chain into one another without giving the computer player any time to react, effectively creating the combo system now common in fighting games. The game did insanely well, where in addition to multiple home system ports, over the years Street Fighter 2 would receive 6 later variations, with Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, which added the ability to play as the 4 boss characters as well as mirror matches, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, which increased the game speed and added new special attacks for certain characters, Super Street Fighter 2 The New Challengers, which in addition to a boost in graphics and sound, thanks to it using the more advanced CPS-2 board, also added 4 more playable characters. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which was basically just Super with the gameplay of Turbo, with it also adding new super combo moves, the ability to juggle opponents, and a new secret boss character. Hyper Street Fighter 2, which allows you to mix and match all the different playstyles from the previous releases, and Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers, which added graphic options for either a classic or HD look, new modes, and adding 2 more playable characters along with 1 secret character. All these versions led to Street Fighter 2 becoming arguably the most iconic fighting game of all time, kicking off the fighting game craze of the 90s, and for the longest time held the record for the best-selling fighting game of all time, only having been beaten somewhat recently by, funnily enough, Smash Bros. Ultimate. Because of that, there is a lot of content from Street Fighter 2. To start off, we have the stage Suzaku Castle, this being Ryu's home stage in Street Fighter 2, with the castle also reappearing in Alpha 3, 3 Third Strike, and 5, the stage primarily being based on 2's version, with the color palette coming from 5. Since all the stages in Street Fighter 2 are effectively the same flat plane with a different background, Smash has taken some creative liberties, where in addition to the main platform on the right side with breakable signs, which is directly based on the original stage, you also have some additional platforms both above the main one and on the left side of the stage. Finally, if a song that's not a Smash remix is playing during the last 30 seconds of a timed match, sudden death, or when the match is down to the last 2 players, with one of them only having 1 stock or a third of their HP left, the Crisis version of that song will start playing, which would play in the original game when a player was on low health. Next, there's 38 music tracks, and to save repetition, every song has at least 2 versions, with a CPS-1 board version taken from the original Street Fighter 2, and a CPS-2 board version taken from Super Street Fighter 2, with any track that was new for Super taking its CPS-1 version from the game's Sharp X68000 port, with player select or the character select screen music, Theme for Ryu stage, Suzaku Castle, Japan. Which also gets a Smash 4 remix that incorporates the Crisis version of the track. The theme for Ken's stage, Battle Harbor, USA. Which, like Ryu's stage, also gets a Smash 4 remix that includes the Crisis version. Theme for E Honda's stage, Edu no Yu Bathhouse, Japan. The theme for Chun-Li's stage, Taiping Road Shopping District, China. The theme for Blanca's stage, Amazon River Basin, Brazil. Theme for Zangief's stage, Big Factory, Russia. Theme for Guile's stage, Air Force Base, USA. which also gets a new remix. The theme for Dalsim stage, Maharaja's Palace, India. The theme for Balrog stage, Las Vegas, USA. The theme for Vegas stage, Fighting Baroom, Spain. Which also gets a new remix. The theme for Sagat's stage, Ayutthaya Ruins, Thailand. Theme for M. Bison stage, Ramayana Temple, Thailand. Theme for T-Hawk stage, Hospico Cabanas, Mexico. Theme for Fei Long stage, Tiger Balm Garden, Hong Kong. theme for DJ stage, the Lemony Jamaica. And the theme for Cammy's stage, Fraserburgh Castle, England. Then we have the assist trophy, Guile, a major in the United States Air Force who enters the tournament in an attempt to take down Shadowloo as revenge for their leader M. Bison killing his best friend Charlie Nash. In Smash, Guile will crouch in place, attacking fighters either up close with his flash kick or at a distance with his projectile move, Sonic Boom, with both having a light and heavy version. In addition, Guile will occasionally perform either a medium or heavy jump kick, this being in reference to a common misinput players often make when they fail to perform the command input required for the flash kick, with his overall behaviour likely being a playful joke towards the playstyle of people who use Guile in Street Fighter. Finally, there's 14 spirits. Number 979, E Honda, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Strong Throw, a Japanese sumo wrestler who enters the tournament to prove sumo wrestlers as the world's strongest fighters and achieve the rank of Yokozuna, the highest rank a sumo can achieve. The art is from Super Street Fighter 2. Number 981, Chun-Li, a 3-slot ace primary grab spirit with the effect Physical Attack Up, the main female protagonist of the Street Fighter series, with her being a master of various Chinese martial arts. She enters the tournament in order to take down M. Bison as revenge for him killing her father. The spirit art comes from Super SF2. Number 982, Blanca, a 1-slot advanced primary shield spirit with the effect Electric Attack Up, a feral man who grew up in the Amazon after surviving a plane crash as a baby, with him gaining electric powers due to an exposure to electric eels. He enters the tournament, which leads to his mother finding him after recognizing the anklet she gave him. The art is from Super SF2. Number 983, Zangief, a master spirit which runs the Overthrow style dojo, which increases grab range and throw and pummel damage whilst decreasing standard aerial, special and item damage. A Russian professional wrestler who enters the tournament per request of the Russian president to show the world the glory of his country. The spirit art is from Super SF2. Number 984, Guile, a 2-slot legend primary shield spirit with the effect Foot Attack Up. Like the other characters so far, his artwork is from Super SF2. Number 985, Dulcim, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect Lava Floor immunity. An Indian yoga master who can stretch his body and create fire, with him entering the tournament to raise money for his village. The spirit art is also from Super SF2. Number 986, Balrog, a 1-slot ace support spirit with the effect Neutral Special Up. An American boxer who works for Shadowloo as one of M. Bison's bodyguards, and after Bison's death, ran the organization into the ground due to lack of experience. His artwork is from Super SF2. Number 987, Vega, a 2-slot ace primary attack spirit with the effect Weight Down. A Spanish ninja who suffers from a dissociative identity disorder after he killed his stepfather as revenge for him murdering Vega's mother, with Vega working as a bodyguard for Bison. The art is once again taken from Super SF2. Number 989, M. Bison, a 3-slot legend primary grab spirit with the effect PSI Attack Up. The main antagonist of the Street Fighter series and the leader of Shadowloo, who aims for global conquest as Earth's dictator. His artwork comes from Super SF2. Number 990, Cammy, a 3-slot ace primary neutral spirit with the effect Foot Attack Up. Originally created as a female clone of Bison to work as an assassin for Shadowloo, she ended up breaking free of her control and works as an operative for the British paramilitary government organisation Delta Red. Number 991, Fei Long, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Fist Attack Up, an action star from Hong Kong who enters the tournament to test his martial arts skills, Fei being a very obvious homage to Bruce Lee. Number 992, DJ, a 1-slot novice primary grab spirit, a Jamaican kickboxer and musician who enters the tournament to find a new rhythm for his next album. Number 993, T-Hawk, a 1-slot novice primary grab spirit, a Native American from Mexico who enters to save his land and tribe, the Thunderfoot tribe, from Shadowloo, as T-Hawk took the responsibility of saving them. And number 994, Akuma, a slotless legend primary attack spirit, a series recurring villain who first appeared as a hidden boss in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Akuma being the younger brother of Goken who is fixated on mastering the Satsui no Hado, a dark energy which is described as transforming the spirit to kill an opponent into raw physical power. Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dreams is a mid-quel set between the events of Street Fighter 1 and 2, featuring characters from the original Street Fighter, younger versions of characters from Street Fighter 2, as well as some new characters and even a few guest characters from the Final Fight series. The main changes from 2 were an expansion to the super combo mechanic from Super Turbo, techniques like alpha counters, air blocking, and chain combos, as well as a new art style which was more in line with Capcom's other arcade fighters at the time, such as Darkstalkers and X-Men Children of the Atom. Like Street Fighter 2, Alpha would see a few variations, the first being Street Fighter Alpha 2, which was less of a sequel and more so just a replacement for Alpha 1, by retconning some of the arcade endings, along with it also adding a new custom combo mechanic which replaces 1's chain combos, expanded the alpha counter technique, and added 5 more playable characters. In addition, there was also Street Fighter Alpha 3, which actually released after the second version of Street Fighter 3. Alpha 3 actually being a sequel to Alpha 2, with a complete gameplay overhaul with every character having 3 selectable fighting styles, dubbed Aism, Vism, and Xism, along with 10 more playable characters, with the home release, and much later Game Boy Advance and PSP releases, expanding that number to 18. Since the Alpha series saw a good amount of success, even if it wasn't to the extreme degree of Street Fighter 2, we have a good amount of stuff from Alpha, albeit with not much variety. The only thing taken from the Alpha series being 7 spirits. Number 980, Chun-Li Street Fighter Alpha, a 3-slot advanced primary grab spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. The Alpha series version of Chun-Li, which is when she first encounters Bison and learns that he was the one who killed her father. The art coming from Alpha 3, where she works with Guile and Nash to take down Shadowloo. Number 995, Nash, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with Death's Scythe, a captain of the United States Air Force and Guile's best friend, who ends up getting killed whilst trying to take down Bison and Shadowloo. The art is from Alpha 3, where, given his ending in Alpha 2, his story appearance is likely non-canon. Number 996, Dan, a 3-slot novice primary neutral spirit with the effect initial damage 30%. First appearing as a hidden character in Alpha 1, Dan is Street Fighter's joke character, being a parody of Ryo Sakazaki, the main protagonist of SNK's Art of Fighting, who Capcom saw as a blatant rip-off of Ryu. The spirit art is taken from Alpha 3, where Dan's ending sees him build a dojo where Shadowloo's base was, only for it to get bombed by Nash's squad thinking it was still acting as Shadowloo's base. Number 997, Sakura, a 3-slot ace primary attack spirit, a high school girl introduced in Alpha 2 as Ryu's biggest fan. having been able to mimic some of Ryu's skills and searches around the world for him in an attempt to have Ryu be her martial arts teacher. The spirit art is from Alpha 3, where after she ends up helping save Ryu from Bison, Ryu turns down the offer to be her teacher, but agrees to have a rematch with her at a later date. Number 999, Karen, a 2-slot advanced primary grab spirit with the effect Strong Throw. Sakura's rich girl rival, who actually first appeared in the Street Fighter manga series Sakura Ganbaru, before being added as a playable character in Alpha 3, who gets involved when her family's company is put under threat by Shadowloo. Number 1000, Cody, a 1-slot novice primary grab spirit with the effect Strong Throw. One of the protagonists from the Final Fight series who ended up going to prison due to his reckless street fighting, with Cody being added as a playable character in Alpha 3, having broken out of prison after a riot. And number 1513, Evil Ryu, a slotless legend primary neutral spirit with the effect Fist Attack Up, an alternate form Ryu can take if he gives into the Satsui no Hado, the same murderous rage that powers Akuma. This form first appearing in the Street Fighter Alpha manga before being added in Alpha 2. The artwork is taken from Ultra Street Fighter 2, where he was a new character for the game alongside Violent Ken and the hidden character Shin Akuma. Street Fighter 3 New Generation is set several years after the events of Street Fighter 2, the game seeing a new organization, the Illuminati, hosting a tournament so that their leader Gil can find new fighters worthy of living in his new utopia, with the New Generation subtitle referring to how almost all the characters in the game were completely new, with the only returning characters being Ryu and Ken. The game had a few new mechanics with parries, dashes, high jumps, quick stands, and a new spin on the super combos, with each fighter getting 3 super arts, which you pick one of at the start of the match. Plus, thanks to the use of the new CPS-3 arcade board, the game featured some of the highest quality 2D animations for the time. However, this also meant that no home console at the time could actually run Street Fighter 3, meaning the game was entirely dependent on its arcade sales. And unfortunately, due to a mix of how expensive the CPS-3 boards were, a lack of interest due to most fans not liking the new lineup with all but 2 of the previous game's characters gone, and the rise in popularity of 3D fighting games with Sega's Virtua Fighter and Namco's Tekken, which were both on their 3rd entries by this point, Street Fighter 3 was a commercial failure. Capcom would try to spin things around with some revisions, namely Street Fighter 3's Second Impact Giant Attack, which added EX specials, throw technicals, and added 2 more new characters, along with bringing back Akuma, as well as Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Fight for the Future, which was a follow-up to Second Impact, adding the red parry, a grading system, and 4 more new characters, along with bringing back Chun-Li. Eventually, the combined sales of the 3 versions, along with the eventual Dreamcast ports, did help Street Fighter 3 finally become profitable, but it didn't really mean much considering it was the follow-up to Street Fighter 2, which was Capcom's best-selling fighting game, with Street Fighter 3's and similar arcade games failures eventually leading Capcom to shift most of their arcade developers to work on home console games. While Street Fighter 3 is looked back on much more fondly now, with Third Strike specifically often being called one of the best fighting games of all time, its initial failure is likely why there isn't much Street Fighter 3 content in Smash. Street Fighter 3 only gives us 2 spirits, with both using artwork from Third Strike. Number 1001, Ibuki, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Move Speed Up, a ninja in training who is sent by a clan to retrieve the plans of the G-File project that Gil's organization were working on, with Third Strike seeing her track down and fight Oro for her ninja graduation exam. And number 1002, Yun and Yang, a 3-slot advanced primary neutral spirit, twin brother skateboarders from Hong Kong who are training Kung Fu. Originally, Yang was just a palette swap of Yun, but in Second Impact he was made a separate character, with the 2 entering the tournament to prove their skills. After SF3 Third Strike came out in 1999, it would take 9 years for a new numbered entry in the Street Fighter series to release, with 2008's Street Fighter 4, which due to Capcom having now long since lost most of its arcade game staff, was co-developed alongside DIMPS, a studio primarily consisting of ex-Capcom and SNK employees, who outside of Street Fighter are mostly known for their work on the Sonic Advance and Rush series, as well as the Dragon Ball, Budokai and Xenoverse games. Street Fighter 4 reverted back to gameplay more in line with Super SF2 Turbo, with 3's parry mechanic being removed, with the new additions of focus attacks, which act as a counter move, and ultra combos, long cinematic attacks which act as an even more powerful version of the super combos from previous games. Street Fighter 4 ended up doing incredibly well, and is often credited as rebirthing the fighting game genre after a lack of interest during the early to mid 2000s, and just like its predecessors, it saw a few revisions, namely Super Street Fighter 4, which saw character tweaks, an improvement to the game's online mode, and 10 new characters, with Super also seeing a further improved arcade version, which was sold as DLC and later a standalone release under the title Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, along with a 3DS port dubbed Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition. On top of that, there was also Ultra Street Fighter 4, adding another 5 characters, most of whom were brought over from the crossover game Street Fighter Cross Tekken, 6 new stages, more mechanics such as being able to use both of a character's ultra combos instead of just one, and both an elimination and online training modes. Similar to Arcade Edition, Ultra was originally sold as DLC for Super before being given its own standalone release. Despite being the game that resurrected Street Fighter and arguably fighting games as a whole, there's only one thing taken from Street Fighter 4, that being Spirit number 1003, Jury, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect poison damage reduced, a sadistic Taekwondo martial artist from South Korea, who works for Sin in order to take revenge on Shadowloo for killing her parents after her father, who worked as a lawyer prosecuting against organized crime cases, targeted Shadowloo, with her left eye, which was also damaged in the attack, getting replaced by the Feng Shui engine. And that's everything from the Street Fighter series, with it being tied 11th in the rankings with Xenoblade Chronicles, putting it above Castlevania but below Metroid, as well as being the second most represented third-party series, behind only the previously discussed Mega Man. To wrap up, let's take a quick look at the 4 other Capcom series in Smash. Ghosts 'n Goblins is a run-and-gun platformer originally released in arcades, though nowadays it's mostly remembered by its NES port. The game having you play as Sir Arthur fight against all kinds of monsters to save the Princess of Huss from demons, by making use of various weapons such as lances, daggers, and axes. The game not only did well enough to warrant 4 sequels, but there was also 2 spin-off series. One that has you play as Firebrand, a flying demon enemy from the main series, and a pair of 3D hack-and-slash games which have you play as the new character Maximo. However, after a pair of mobile games, the series would go on an 11-year-long hiatus before returning in 2021 with Ghosts 'n Goblins Resurrection to celebrate the series' 35th anniversary. Since this is the most obscure Capcom series in Smash, there isn't much from Ghosts 'n Goblins. First, we have a Mii sword fighter costume based on the series' main protagonist, Sir Arthur, with the sword being a lance which is often used as the default starting weapon in the games. In addition, there's Spirit number 1467, Arthur, a 1-slot ace primary grab spirit with the effect item throw up. The art comes from Ghosts 'n Goblins Resurrection, which is likely due to it being the most recent game in the series. Resident Evil, or Biohazard in Japan, is a survival horror game originally released exclusively for the PlayStation 1, which actually started off as a remake of the Famicom game Sweet Home, with it seeing the Alpha team of a special operations force called STARS being sent to investigate some murders and the disappearance of Bravo team on the outskirts of Raccoon City, eventually being forced to take refuge in a mansion filled with the results of experiments made by the biomedical company the Umbrella Corporation Corporation and their deadly T-virus. The game did insanely well, with it receiving 8 sequels and a prequel, 4 remakes, as well as multiple spin-offs and side games, with Resident Evil now standing as both the best-selling horror game series and Capcom's best-selling franchise, the series having collectively sold over 135 million copies. Despite arguably being Capcom's most recognizable franchise, the only content from Resident Evil is 4 spirits. Number 1372, Wesker, a 3-slot ace primary attack spirit with the effect Fist Attack Up. The captain of the STARS Alpha team in the original Resident Evil, who is revealed to have been secretly working for the Umbrella Corporation the entire time. The artwork is taken from Resident Evil 5, where he has since left Umbrella to work for the company Tricell, with him possessing superhuman abilities thanks to a mutation given by a prototype virus. Number 1373, Leon, a 2-slot advanced primary shield spirit with the effect Item Throw Up. One of the protagonists of Resident Evil 2, whose first day of duty as a Raccoon City police officer, happens to be the same day as a T-virus outbreak hits the city. The spirit art is from Resident Evil 4, where he now works as an agent for the US government, with him being tasked to save the president's daughter from a cult called Los Illuminados. Number 1374, Chris, a 2-slot advanced primary grab spirit with the effect Shooting Items Power Up. One of the protagonists from the original Resident Evil, who is often viewed as having the harder scenario, having more health at the cost of less carrying space and needing to find keys to unlock doors. The art comes from Resident Evil 6, where he works for a group called the BSSA, and alongside peers sets out to investigate bioterror activity in China and get caught up in a C-virus outbreak. And number 1375, Jill, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Lightweight, the other playable character from Resident Evil 1 who has less health than Chris, but can carry more items and possesses a lockpick bypassing the need for keys. The artwork coming from the remake of the original Resident Evil. Devil May Cry is a series of hack-and-slash games, with the first game actually starting life as a concept for Resident Evil 4. The series primarily follows Dante, the second half-human son of Sparda, who runs a demon-hunting business called Devil May Cry, with him working to prevent invasions of Earth from the demon world. The games are mainly known for their incredibly flashy and high execution-based combat, with it often being cited as one of the first examples of a character action game, with the series consisting of 5 main entries, along with a failed westernized reboot which was made in response to the 4th game only selling slightly better than the 3rd despite being on more platforms. Despite the popularity of the series, there's not much from DMC in Smash. The only thing taken from Devil May Cry is a Mii sword fighter costume based on Dante, the series' main protagonist, with the sword being Alistair, a sword from the first game which can channel lightning and unlocks the Devil Trigger ability. Whilst the costume is mostly based on Dante's appearance in the original game, the wig more so resembles his appearance in Devil May Cry 5. Monster Hunter is a series of action RPGs which see you take the role of a hunter, taking on missions to hunt down various monsters across multiple landscapes, with there having been a new game or expansion almost every year since the first game released in 2004. Whilst the series has always been popular in Japan and other Asian countries, due to the steep learning curve, the series didn't take off in the West until Monster Hunter World in 2018, which in addition to become the series' best-selling entry in the span of 3 days, would go on to become the best-selling Capcom game, having sold over 18.6 million copies, with Monster Hunter standing as Capcom's second best-selling franchise behind only Resident Evil. Because of that, there's a good amount of content from Monster Hunter. To begin, we have 2 music tracks, with Monster Hunter 4's rendition of Proof of a Hero, the series' main theme, Rathalos, which plays while fighting a monster in the Forest and Hills area in the original Monster Hunter. Next is an assist trophy based on Rathalos, a flying wyvern enemy that was the flagship monster of the first game and has gone on to be the most iconic monster in the series. In Smash, it flies into the stage and will attack fighters using various attacks it uses in the games, namely shooting fireballs from its mouth, roaring to stun opponents, swooping and stomping at enemies to attack with its poisonous claws, a tail spin attack, and a sliding tackle with it also trying to bite the enemy. Then there's 5 Mii costume pieces, with a hat based on felines, a race of bipedal cat creatures who assimilated into human culture, with the hat being based on the more cartoonish design used for the Feline Village spin-off series, a Mii Swordfighter costume based on the Hunter's Blade Master armor, along with the Hunter's Knife, Sword, and Shield set, these being series recurring early game armor and gear, along with another Mii Swordfighter costume based on the Rathalos Blade Master armor with the Blazing Falchion Sword and Shield set, another set of series recurring armor and gear which can be made from the remains of defeated Rathalos. In addition to their appearance as an assist trophy, Rathalos also appears as a boss, with it being fought in the Forest and Hill sub-area in World of Light, as well as Yoshi, Bowser, Marth, Duck Hunt, Piranha Plant, Hero, and Sephiroth's classic mode routes. On top of all the attacks from its assist trophy appearance, Rathalos also gains 2 new attacks where it flies into the background and either shoots flame projectiles or tries to ram into fighters, with it also being possible to stun Rathalos either by breaking its face or back armor, as well as throwing explosive or stunning items that appear randomly, or by attacking its tail, which is potentially a reference to how severing a Rathalos' tail can earn you more items in Monster Hunter. To end off, there's 5 spirits. Number 1295, Rathalos, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Air Attack Up. The spirit art is from Monster Hunter 4, where they can be found in the Ancestral Steppe, Volcanic Hollow, Heaven's Mount, Tower Summit, Everwood, Sanctuary, Arena, and Slayground. Number 1468, Palico, a 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a rambling evil mushroom. Palicos being felines that serve as companions to hunters, with the artwork coming from Monster Hunter Rise. Number 1469, Palamute, a 3-slot advanced primary grab spirit with the effect Speed Up. These being canines, a race of dog-like creatures introduced in Monster Hunter Rise, which were trained by the Kimura village to act as hunting buddies. Number 1470, Magna Mallow, a 1-slot ace primary attack spirit with the effect Fist Attack Up. A large fanged wyvern and the flagship monster of Monster Hunter Rise, being able to attack with its claws, jaws, and hellfire. And number 1487, Raisewing Ratha, a 3-slot ace primary neutral spirit with the effect Fire Attack Up. A flightless Rathalos from Monster Hunter Stories 2, serving as the main monsty ally for the game's protagonist. And with that, we've looked at every series in Smash to come from Capcom. For the overall rankings, Devil May Cry is tied 109th with 43 other series, Ghosts and Goblins is tied 88th with 20 other series, Resident Evil is tied 73rd with 14 other series, and Monster Hunter is 39th, putting it ahead of Golden Sun but below Game & Watch, with it also ranking as the 16th most represented third-party series and the 3rd most represented series which doesn't have a playable character. Currently the poll for the next episode seems to be a tie between Fire Emblem or Earthbound and Xenoblade, so I'll keep it going for a few more days, but if there's no change, I'll just have to randomly pick one. In the meantime, if you want to know when that episode comes out, or when the next poll will be, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if there's a particular series you want to see discussed, and thanks for watching.